Hey everybody,
Hey, welcome.
welcome to our wedding.
So we decided to make a video to tell you about how God brought us together.
And Susan's going to start with her telling how God presented her husband to her.
Okay. So I got saved, or I became a Christian about 32 years ago, and God spoke to me through a friend how I would meet my husband. He gave her a vision when we were praying, and it was a picture of the earth, and two beams of light came around from either side and met in the middle, and a kind of explosion of light occurred. And from that, even though we didn't understand it clearly at the time, what spoke to us was that when I met my husband, it would be unmistakable.
So we met on the social dance floor, met at a dance, and we exchanged emails and found out we had a ton in common.
Mm-hmm.
Then we were at a particular dance at the Elks Lodge. It was a swing dance, and she had talked about a mission trip she went on to Peru, and we found out we were there just a year apart. But unbeknownst to both of us, we were thunderstruck at that instant. We fell madly in love right then.
Right. So there'd been a series of emails. We've been getting to know each other, as he said, but there was a moment where I realized, oh my goodness, this really is likely the person I'm going to marry. And he felt the same. We just didn't know that we were doing it at the same time.
So I went and sent her a subtle email. I'm
Subtle.
reading verbatim. With every word, every glance, every dance, I am drawn in deeper. I love you, Susan Ballard. You are my beautiful, bright, graceful, joy-emitting, talented, and spiritual soulmate. So I dropped that one on her. So we agreed to fast and pray for a week and meet up at Lake Johnson.
Right. So we realized that God was bringing us together, or we felt like God was bringing us together. So like he said, we decided to fast and pray, and we went out to Lake Johnson after we had done that, and it turned out that both of us had heard from the Lord that the timing was not right and that we were a little bit premature. So we agreed that we would not see each other for really an undefined, unspecified amount of time, which actually turned out to be 6 months.
So I loved her so much that I prayed that God would send her a good man. And all the
did.
time I'm in love with her, but I prayed that. I prayed that for a solid month, and then the Lord spoke to me and said, stop praying that just pray my will be done in her life.
So 6 months go by, and it's October of 2018, and I started to feel like I should get in touch with him. But I wasn't sure if that was really just me or if that was from God, so I prayed again for about a month, and finally at the end of October, I sent him a message, and we got back together.
So we started dancing together. We went out to a social dance, and afterwards we went out to the parking lot and had a hug. This hug was different though. We've hugged before, but this was an extended hug, and it was just such connection there. And then we both knew it was something special. And when we wrote down the attributes of this hug, we said the number one thing on both our lists was it was heaven on earth.
Right.
We really felt that God wanted us together as a
Right.
result of that.
Yeah. It was definitely God. We felt God birthing something there in terms of just bringing us together and sort of a God-given attraction for one another. So,
So I'd received a prophecy from my pastor that, I told him about Susan. He said he had received from the Lord that God will tell us what he wants to do with our lives after we're married.
mm-hmm.
So this was early this year. And
So,
what's going to happen after the service,
oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
you can say.
After we've said our vows today, we'll have a time of prayer, and we're believing that God will speak, and we call that prophecy, and we believe that God is going to bless us with information about what he wants, what he has for us for the future.
So I had this dream with a hand coming out of the sky. It was a dream in the spirit, and it was a purple ring box in that hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it was having me take the ring. And while I'm telling her this story, she tells me that she already has a ring. She wants to use her mother's engagement ring.
Right.
And
which I had been wanting to tell him anyway, and I wasn't sure how to tell him that I already have an engagement ring. So I prayed, and I asked the Lord, how can I tell him? And finally, I said, you know what, Lord, you tell him. Please tell Keith that I already have a ring. And so God gave Keith a dream and told him that I already had a ring.
so the day after the proposal, she shows up at my house with the ring box from
Well,
with the
a
ring
ring
pouch
pouch.
from the safe deposit box, and it's the exact same color that the ring box I saw in my dream. Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of shades of purple.
Yeah.
You can see that. So, but it was that shade of purple.
Right. Right.
So
Very cool.
I ended up proposing to her on Valentine's Day.
Through an epic scavenger hunt, taking me all over Raleigh and Cary.
And she had a scavenger hunt in her house for me, and she wrote a poem.
Yes. So Keith wanted me to read this, and which I'm happy to do.
This sums up our relationship.
It really does. I had gotten this card for Keith for Valentine's Day and asked the Lord to show me what to write in it, and God just gave me this poem. So it says, a beam of light circling the earth, a diamond ring of great value and worth, a man of God, a partner in crime. His plan was for now, for this exact time. I know you were created especially for me. That's not hard to see. And I believe that God has a plan, straight from his hand. Maybe in a foreign land? Dance, romance, embrace, face to face, unashamed, unafraid. I have prayed for you, and now you're here. And now it's clear that you are the one sent by my Father above, the one I respect, cherish, and love.
So we had a great Valentine's Day date, and I took her back to what's going to be our house and took her out in the deck and proposed to her, and we kissed for the very first
For the
time.
very first time, right.
So that's our story in a nutshell, and hope you enjoy the wedding.
So, yeah. And for those of you who maybe are believing God for something, we just want to encourage you that wait on God, and he has the very best for you.
He's very good.
Mhm.